Okay, a couple of you asked for a focused directrix review for Algebra 2. So this is the worksheet that we used in first period. I know 7th period didn't get to it yet, but at least this will give you a little something, okay? So if you are told that something equidistant, then that means it's the focus. They may call it focus, they may call it locus, they may call it equidistant, okay? The equidistant point is your focus, and then this one says your vertex. So you have to have memorized the formula y equals or f of x equals 1 over 4p times x minus h squared plus k, where the vertex is the h comma k. H is always opposite when it's with the x. K is whatever itself is. And the p is the distance from the vertex to the focus or the vertex to the directrix. Okay? Now, I'll show you the quick, easy cheat first, which is just typing this into the calculator. Let me get the calculator quick. Okay, I know this always gives a glare. Okay, so we're going to put it on a graphing page. Okay, I'll go right to the correct answer with this one. We hit delete, we go into a relation, and then you can just literally type in what it says. So y squared plus xy minus 8x minus 16 equals 0. Enter. Okay, and then once we see our parabola, which this is a sideways one, no matter if it's a correct, a positive parabola, a negative, whether it's the y is squared instead of the x is squared, it does not matter. You still hit menu, analyze graph, and then analyze conic, choice 8. And now we can just locate the vertex, because they gave me the vertex. Okay, so if I hover on it, if we're off of it, we don't see it. If I hover on it and click, when I move away, it is right there. -4, -4, which is what they told me the vertex was. Okay, now look for your focus. So do it again, menu, 6 for analyze graph, 8 for analyze conic, but now I want the focus. So choice 3, I hover on it, click, move away, my focus is right there, -2, -4, which is what they told me. Okay, so this is that cheat. If it's multiple choice, just type it into the calculator, whichever choices you think works. If this one didn't work, I'd cross it out and try the next one. Okay, and then just hover over it to see each. Now this one never told me the directrix, but if they didn't give me the vertex and they wound up giving me the focus and the directrix, then I would just do the same thing, menu, choice 6, analyze graph, 8, analyze conic, and this time I would choose 5 for the directrix. And when I hover over it, there's my directrix, x equals -6. Okay? So that's the way of cheating on the calculator for multiple choice. Then we come to this type, which is not multiple choice, but they did still give you the formula. So if they give you the actual function, even though it's not multiple choice, you could still do the cheat that we just did. You type this into the calculator, okay, just straight the way it is, and then you find the vertex, find the focus, find the directrix. If you find the vertex of the problem and you plot it, you find the focus of the problem and you plot it, and you find the directrix of the problem and plot it, you should know that the parabola can never cross this directrix, so you'll just copy that moving upward. Okay? Now, if you didn't have all of that and you were just given these, you need to make sure that P, the distance from the vertex to the directrix, is the same as the vertex to the focus, that distance P. okay? So I'll show you really quick, just in case this was ever a Regents question, to solve this, to get it into f of x equals 1 over 4p times x minus h squared plus k. I've told you, make sure that you put this on a Post-it note where you look at a couple times a day, okay? The vertex is hk. Well, the vertex is right here, and that point was 2, -1. So I would plug in a 2 here. So f of x equals 1 over x. I would plug in a positive 2, but it always is the opposite. And then down 1 is -1. And this needs to be 4 times p. Well, p is 1, so it would just be 4. And I would know that this is going up, so that stays positive. If the directrix was up here and it was pointing down, then that would be -1/4. Okay? It's kind of sloppy, but you should be able to tell. All right, now that is different from what they gave you, because what they gave you was x squared minus 4x minus 4y equals 0. If you needed to get it to be a y equals, then we would move the 4y over. Okay, and I'm going to turn it around as I do that. I know you all know what I just did. I'm not worried about that part. Okay, and then we would divide both sides by 4 to get y by itself. So that's really 1/4, that's that fraction, times x squared minus 4x. Okay, now that, believe it or not, is the same exact thing as that. And you wouldn't have to worry about solving that or anything. You could just type that into the calculator, but it's really no different than typing this into the calculator if you're cheating with this. Okay? All right, so now on the back, oh no, right here, number 4. Okay, number 4 you could still cheat anyways, but because the choices were given. But if this was an open response question where you had to calculate it, you have the focus. The focus is 1, -1. They're all the same distance from this line, y equals 7. That means that's the directrix. Anytime it's equally distant, okay, so up at y equals 7, that's your directrix. So if this point is right 1, down 1, straight up from that would be right 1, up 7. So what is the total distance between the directrix and the focus is 8 units. I need halfway. So halfway would be my vertex. 4 units down from this would be 1, 3. 4 units up from -1, if you were to count up, would be going up to 3 also. So there's your vertex. So our equation would be f of x equals 1 over 4 times that distance was 4 units, we said. So 4 times 4 is 16, times x minus the 1 squared. It's got to be a squared or it's not a parabola. And then plus 3. Now, like I said down here, the directrix is up here. That means my parabola needs to be curving downward, which means I need a negative on it. And that was choice D, which you could have just put into cheat as well, into the calculator. Okay? All right. So any other issues, just give me an email or let me know tomorrow in class or anytime if you have any questions. Okay? Bye.